Hi guys, how you going? Just want to run through the program for linear and non-linear relationships. If you look at the program outline when I send it to you, this is what you'll have here. This is from the Australian curriculum. So what the key things there, we're looking to complete tables of values, plotting graphs, determining your relationships, then finding the rule for linear relationships. And then the second part is actually solving linear type problems with unknown variables. Alright, so you can see that on your program. And so here's a list of activities that we're going to go through. Obviously the pre-topic test will be the test that we'll do at the end. Introducing the PowerPoint. So if I go to PowerPoint number 1 and just quickly flick through that to show you what it looks like. So introducing the idea of a straight line, the idea of the intercept and the slope for that. Okay, so just flicking through that, quickly get the idea of the sort of questions and how that's set up. So talking about going across, going up, finding the intercept. Right, so that's that first PowerPoint that you go through. It's got some information, that the kids can have a go at doing there. I've also set up in here some ABCD question ones. Right, so near the end of it, you'll find there's the ABCD question ones where your kids can actually have a go at doing some questions. Alright, so that's that first PowerPoint. The second PowerPoint we've got on there, I'll need to find that, sorry. Second PowerPoint is this one here. So this one here relates to looking at applications. Okay, so you can obviously flick through. So the idea of using a table of values and then plotting the points and then doing a line of best fit from there, looking at finding a gradient, finding the intercept, finding your equation from that, and then doing an answer from using that equation. So that's really the process we want kids to go through. So I think that hopefully will make sense for you as you flip through this PowerPoint. Alright, so a few different applications for that. You can go through that. If you've got any questions about how I've set that up, certainly ask me. You might even think of some other things that you might want to add to it. Right, you can just simply copy and paste some of these pages and then change them as you need to. Alright, so that's that PowerPoint. So going back to the original plan, getting to the line, that's that one there, the two introductions. Counting the slope is a just an activity from a PDF. Let's see if I can find it. It's all in this folder, counting the slope. So this is just getting kids a bit of practice at finding the slope of a line. So that might be a good activity for doing at home, maybe homework activity, come back the next day and do that. Alright, so that's that one. Keeping in mind you don't have to do all these activities, it's about you picking and choosing what you want to do. Find the equation from tables, that's out of 10 ticks. Finding equation from tables. So again, getting the kids to have a bit of practice at plotting some points onto a graph, and then trying to find the equation from that. Now you can see there's heaps of them. You probably don't have to do more than a couple of those. So you pick how many you want the kids to do. Get the idea of using the pattern to find the equation of the line, because that's the important thing, is for them to use the equation to come back and find the equation. Using the table to find the pattern and then find the equation for that line. Practical number patterns. Again, there's another activity. Now you don't have to do this, but again, it's there for you. Your time period that you've got. So again, it's sort of matching what we've done in the PowerPoint there. Alright, so using tables of values and plotting graphs again. Alright, so that's straight out of 10 ticks. Coming back to here, we've got our TI calculator, the guess coefficient. So I'll just show you this very quickly, as long as my calculator works. Okay, so what you need to do for this one here, you'll need to grab the graphics calculators, and you'll have to come down to this program here in applications. It's pretty simple to use. The kids can just play around with themselves. So option number 1 will be the linear lines. Probably do it in the slope intercept form, which is number 1. And for this program here, all you do is you just have a guess at what you think the equation of the line is. So I think the slope of that may be, say, 4. So you just type in 4. And then you think that might cut the y-axis at, say, 3. So 4, and then I go enter. no, scroll down using my arrow, and then I'll go 3, and then go enter. What it will do, actually plot the equation of the line that you've just done. Alright, you can see it's not quite the slope, is it? It's actually a little bit less steep. Okay, so I've got to make a guess now. So if I click on OK, which is that button over there, I can now change that. So I think it's a little bit less steep. So let's make it, I think it goes through 5. So let's make that 5. What are we going to say? Let's make it 5. And let's make that over here, say 4. Right, and we can graph that. Enter by graphing. And you can see it will actually, oh no, it's too steep. Okay, I think I got one of the points right. It doesn't like that, so you click on there, it'll tell you what the answer is. Okay, so it's got a slope of 3 and goes through 5. Press that button up over there to go to the next one. So, alright, let's see if we can get this one right this time. So I think it's got a slope of say -3 and it goes through -3. So let's go anything. Let's just stuff it up so we don't get it right first time. So let's go -3, scroll down and go through 2, and then graph it. Oh, I've got both of those wrong again. Right, so I think the slope is say -4. Make it -4, and then make it go through say -3, and then graph. Let's see how we go with that. You can see it's going through that line there, so I've got that correct. Right, now if you do get something right on it, okay, it will actually give you the right answer. Let's say I've got a slope here, just last one here. Let's say we've got the slope here of say 4 and goes through -2, and graph it. See, so let's just let it to graph. Okay, now if I get something right with it, it will actually tell me what I get right with the equation, and I missed both of them again. Anyway, I'll let you play around with that, and I think it's a bit of fun. The kids can certainly learn how to use a graphics calculator, and don't get too frightened about that. Now the next activity I've got there is a thing called battleships. Okay, so I've just sort of the typical game of battleships. The idea of this game here is they will do, using a table of values, roll the dice to get these numbers for A, for the X and the other value there, complete your table of values, plot that on the graph using different colours, and then what the rules are is they take in terms of guessing the coordinates. Okay, so if they actually hit something, obviously they'll mark that as a hit. So let's say they get a pattern of things coming down this way, then what they have to do to actually win the game is they have to tell you what the equation of that line is. So it's sort of matched towards the equation of the line. If you want to just play around with the rules for that, you can certainly do that. You don't have to do the equation, but I think it's probably a good one. So the idea of them destroying it only when they've actually told you what the equation of that line is. Alright, so I think it's a bit of fun. Maybe they certainly would know a little bit about equations of lines to actually play that game properly. Alright, so that's there if we want to use it. Alright, so rules of algebra part 3. Now this is a slightly different way of looking at the rules of algebra, and I'll just quickly go through this one here. So here is generally what we would do when we're doing algebra, is we say do the same to both sides. So if we add to both sides, we divide from both sides. This is how I tend to try and teach algebra, the rules of algebra. So I say there's two rules of algebra, addition, subtraction. So when you go across the equal sign, what you simply have to do is change the sign. So here's an example. You're going through there. Changing the sign means I have to make that a -5. So that becomes 7 take 5, x equals 2. Changing that, because that's a -4, that becomes +4. so therefore becomes 14. Negative 6 becomes, take 6, 12. And then there's a couple for them to have a go at doing. Alright, so you flick through there. The second rule is for multiplication division. And basically what it is the top, when you go across the equal sign, top goes to top to bottom, bottom goes to top. Okay, so you're using the idea of like an escalator going across there. Alright, so if you rearrange this equation, say for A, A would become equal to BC over D. Alright, D would go up there, A would come down here, B would go up there, so that would be BC over A. Right, rearranging for C, D goes up to the top line, AD over B. Solving for B, B goes up there, C goes down there, D goes up the top. So the idea of using the rule, which is if you're on the top line, you go to the bottom line, so therefore that will go down. 8 over 2 is 4. Okay, the 4 will go down, the 3 will go up. That becomes 3 times 8 over 4, which is 24 over 4, which is 6. Okay, the 3 will go down, the 5 will go up. Okay, getting the idea? So I think kids generally find that not too bad, that process. Right, and then you get 12 on 7. So it doesn't always have to give you a nice number. So here's a couple for them to have a go at doing, to check it out. And then what we're doing is we combine the two rules. Now we have a linear equation which we're solving. Alright, so we use two rules. We do the addition thing over there first. Then we do the division over here and get the answer. Right, so there's a couple of examples to go through there. Right, the two steps, and then you can go the last bit, which we'll expect the kids to do, which is when you've got two linear factors on either side. So you bring your numbers to one side and you bring the symbols to the other side. Again, you're using the true rules. Alright, same process again. Alright, so I think it's a nice, neat way of talking about the algebra rules. I think kids hopefully should find that pretty easy. So that's another way of thinking about that. Solving equations, there's a whole heap of these solving equations in 10 ticks. So if you go to the 10 ticks website, they're down a bit further. You've got the reference to the questions. Actually, they're up a bit higher, I think. Sorry. And there's a whole heap, and they're in the algebra section. So I think I've got the reference to the pages anyway. But you have a look at them. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be doing all of them, but you know, it's a bit of fluency for the kids. They need to be able to practice that. The other option is to maybe take some of that out of the your textbooks. All right, so just a bit of practice there. Now, I've also included an investigation here with that. Oh, actually, so there's a snakes and ladders game as well. So the idea of playing a game for snakes and ladders, it's got cards that you can, I'll see if I can find it for you. So it's got cards which you have to rearrange, organise first, and then you play a game of snakes and ladders. So for kids who are finished or just a bit different, be worthwhile having a look at that. I can't seem to find it, the page it's on. There's also in there, in this particular document, there's also some things where you've got colouring in, okay, which look quite good as well for some of these activities. Alright, so anyway, you can find that in the book. It's not hard to find, alright, even though I can't find it now. The next bit of that, the last bit, is the investigation. So I just want to show you that here. So this idea of using slopes and for them to look at rolling a marble a certain set distance. Okay, so it's a bit of like an investigation, a bit of fun. I think it's got some good mathematics in there for them to try and do there. So have a look at that, have a read of that, and I'll talk to you about that if you need some help with that. I don't know, you might not like that, so we can always change that particular investigation. And then obviously we've got our two different tests at the end. Now I have actually included, with the actual test, I've included the solutions for you. Alright, so the idea of using some rearrangement is there. That sort of comes through the test, and you've got some stuff about doing patterns to find equations of lines. So I think it's okay, but if you don't like it, let me know and we can certainly change it. So I hope this helps you think about what you're doing in the next 4 weeks. So you've got about 4 weeks to do that. So what I'll be thinking is, use some of those activities, maybe put some of your own in that you found, and make sure if you do find something that's really good, make sure you share it with everybody else. All right, so we'll catch up with you. If you need some help, certainly ask me, and I can try and support you with that, and certainly help each other.